What's up guys, Heath with Lake Champlain Sanitation here, and on this week's video, I'm going to be showing you guys how I went from about $100 a day take home pay to my business making about $100 an hour just over in a little over 2 years of me in business. Now let's get into it. So we're going to start out with the easy numbers, guys. $250,000 a year, we're going to be about $257,000 this year. Comes out to $4,807 a week, which equates to my average work week was 45 hours. Some weeks were 50, some weeks were 35 hours, guys. So average of 45-hour work week is $106 per hour that I'm working. That's counting the truck moving and me doing my book work. Now, let me hop in and just show you what a pay stub looked like for me take home from my job back in April. This is April 11th. 2018, as you can see, $533 take home, and that was for 40 hours. I'm sorry, that was for 41 hours, 41.13 hours of work at my old day job. So before we get into it here, guys, couple disclaimers. I did have a little bit of money taken out for retirement, naturally, out of that paycheck that you saw there, but my hourly rate was $17 an hour. With overtime, of course, it was time and a half, but I was making $17 an hour, putting a little bit of money aside into an IRA account and taking home, that was a 41-hour week, $533 after taxes and all that good stuff. Now, guys, on a given day, we do about $1,000 in business. If you were to average out an entire month, 20 working days, we do about, or 22 working days, I should say, it's an average of about $1,000 a month, up from that $100 a day that I was making back at that day job. And after you net it all out, I pay myself about the same, but I can tell you there's a lot more money flowing in that I can manipulate to grow the business and reinvest it back into the business that I don't need to take personally. So the route was doing about $1,500 a month or $18,000 a year gross. And that was what I was on track to do my whole first calendar year in business if I wasn't going to grow it. Now, because I was at my day job, I only had one day a week to run my business. This was one day, not counting nights, that I was able to pick up all the customers' garbage, make sure the truck was maintained, get my invoicing out, unless I wanted to basically work every night after work. But our landfill closes at 3, and it gets dark pretty early up here half of the year. So I wanted to get as much done as I could on that one day. My schedule was Monday through Saturday with Tuesdays off and Sundays off. So inevitably, Tuesday was my pickup day. So how did I go from one day, 40 accounts, to now about 540 accounts, 5 roll-off dumpsters, and junk removal side of my business, and 1 full-time employee in 2 years' time? Well, I'm going to tell you guys about that coming up next. So back to square one. I'm 22, 23, let's see. I'm 23 years old at the time, guys. Just about to turn 24. And I get the bright idea that I want to run a business. So I purchased this route like I talked about. Now I got lucky purchasing the route. I did not just, it wasn't like, hey, all these routes are for sale. I know a lot of you guys have asked me that, and no, there wasn't a lot of routes for sale. This was a, roundtable conversation at a dinner party one night, Never thought it would turn into a $250,000 business in a couple years, but it has. So I bought an old truck. You guys have seen that in the other videos. If not, I'm going to throw that in right here. That old Power Stroke truck got me through about the first 4 months of my business, and then it blew up. So when it blew up, I bought the truck for, I think, $6,000. It was a diesel. It had 100 and something thousand miles on it. It had a dump body, of course. So I thought it was a good deal. I knew nothing about anything, and I was able to buy it with that personal loan and the business together. So bought the truck, caused about $2,400 worth of damage to it in the first 4 months of just, bad luck. It was a 2000, and I bought it in the 2018, so it obviously didn't have any warranty left. Blew it up, cost me a lot of money. I ended up selling the truck outright, taking all the proceeds from that, putting it down on the loan, so the loan was paid down at least enough of the truck, and then I had to go buy a dump trailer. So I luckily had enough cash saved up to go buy a dump trailer. That dump trailer was 3,500 bucks. I have a lot of videos about that. It's the green dump trailer that I still own to this day. And I continued to market, worked my day job. So I'm going to the gym in the morning.
Stand. Tight. Oh yeah, all day, Heath, all day. Nice. Oh baby, come on kid. Heath, don't you give up. Drive. Nice.
I'm going to the day job. I'm going home and thinking how I can grow my business. And then Tuesday mornings, I would wake up around 4:30 in the morning, hit the road running, get all my accounts done, come back home, clean up the truck and the dump trailer at the time. I had a personal truck that I had to pull it with. And that was how my business ran for about the first maybe 8 months. There was very little growth. I thought about advertising. How could I do it? Very little growth. Then I started to advertise. I used Facebook marketing. Here's a picture of something I'd put on Facebook, guys, to show the new business items that I had. I started to learn Google AdWords, Google Analytics. I did a lot of word of mouth advertising, and I was able to grow my business to where that Tuesday was maxed out, guys. It was about 130-ish accounts. Not super route dense like it is now. But that 130 accounts was about a 12-hour day. It was all day long. It was 4 in the morning to getting to the landfill right at 3 o'clock, and then driving home and hoping to make it home by 3:30 or 4 in the afternoon. Got through that. Then the big change was when I felt like, I think I can leave my day job, but how am I going to do it? So when I left my employment at my state job, which I was a correctional officer for a little while. This brings back the memories, guys. All clean shaven, baby face before the beard. Was not for me. It was a great job. It just wasn't for me. I wanted to be an entrepreneur, and I knew I couldn't do that there because I couldn't ever make my own schedule around that style of job. Luckily, my boss let me come in with the assumption that I would be able to work from my phone if I took a day off. I basically had to walk in with a proposal and tell him, I'd like to back my shifts down to 4 days a week. I will take a cut in pay, a significant one if need be, but I need to make this business work. I need to get this business off the ground. And he agreed. I mean, once I told him I would basically do the same workload in 4 days for less pay and be able to be reached by my phone, it was kind of a win-win for him. And for me, it was okay, let's keep growing the business. So I grew the business up last year this time, guys. I had just over, I want to say about 300-ish accounts. And I had a guy helping me for a very short time. I went through, got all the workers' comp. I got the insurances, everything. He was with me for a month. He actually went to the correctional establishment to work where I left from, but I totally got it. It's a great job. He was an awesome worker. So I had workers' comp, all the whole nine for a month. Then I had to cancel it, and I learned about audits, and I learned about all this good stuff, payroll audits and all this stuff. Went through all that. I had bought roll-offs last fall. So I have the roll-offs. Everything's going good with the business. I'm doing everything 1 day a week. I'm doing the roll-offs at night. I'm dumping them on my lunch, as I said in other videos. And I said, all right, between these two, I think I can have enough business. If I cut back to like 2 days a week at my day job, I will have enough business to quote unquote like support myself and just use my day job as my side hustle and just take money out of the business to live. Nothing fancy. So I did that. And then it was in April of this year that I decided to leave my job in the middle of COVID. That was very interesting, but the business at the time was doing about $12,000 a month in revenue. And I knew that I could leave my job and pay myself, $500 and something a week. I never lived above that. Even when I had the day job income of maybe at the time, it might've been $1,000 a month and then the $12,000 a month coming in from my business. I never divvied from the $500 to $600 mark of living expenses. So leave the job. Now things are starting to ramp up. And guys, when I say ramp up, I probably did an additional $8,000 in sales the month after I left my job. I was pounding the pavement. I was paying for advertising. Not a lot of money, maybe a few $100s worth. But I'm paying for advertising now. And it's June of 2020. It's prime dumpster season. These are where I'm working those 45, 50-hour weeks. Before that, I'm only running the business, the residential side, maybe 30 hours a week. But now I'm putting in all this extra time and the business is really growing. I had to go through 2 employees before I found Jacob, the guy that I have now. And I kept workers' comp. I got it back, I don't even know, back over the summer. I just kept it. Even if I had to go through an employee, not have them, I just said, you know what? I don't want to just like start a policy, end a policy, start a policy, end a policy. I just paid it every month, whether I had an employee or not. Some can say that's silly, but for me, it was a lot less paperwork for a few $100 a month. So burned through a couple employees, thought I was not going to have employees anymore. Jacob came along. He's been with me for going on 4 months now. And once we clicked, it was he's going to do residential and learn roll-offs in the spring, but for now do residential, and I'm going to back him up in residential. And we basically went from 400 accounts a couple months ago to 540 accounts now. And that was a huge span for us. Some of those accounts are commercial, so there's multiple cans at one account. It's not like we have about 520 stops, but some of the accounts have multiple cans. That's why I they pay per can, which is a good tip for you guys if you're getting into it and you don't do front load dumpsters, if you can offer multiple cart discounts to people. Basically that was how the whole thing ran. So to sum it all up, super easy. 2018, March 2018, I'm getting ready to DBA Lake Champlain Sanitation. I'm going to start this little business thing up, making, $1,000 a month. Fast forward it 1 year from there, basically almost lost the business because I was trying to just operate it on someone helping me and relying on them to help me while I was still trying to rush through my day job. That wasn't working. Fast forward a year from that, puts us into about where we are now. It's going to be 3 years coming up here in March. So we're not quite 3 years yet, but like I said, you fast forward from where I almost lost the whole show to where I am now. The business is triple revenue of what it did last year. I get a weekly paycheck, the same every week. And it's funny because I pay myself $17 an hour right now. And I live fine on it because I'm so used to it. And that's how I'm able to continue to roll the money into the business, keep the equipment new, keep buying cars, keep buying dumpsters. And yeah, guys, I mean, that is exactly how I went from quitting my day job, I should say working a day job and having a side hustle, making my side hustle my hustle, making the day job the side hustle, and then quitting the day job ultimately, in the spring of 2020, and still rolling ever since. We have commercial land we're trying to purchase here in the next couple months. We want to build a shop next year. I learned YouTube now, guys. I mean, anybody can do this. You don't have to be special or a rocket scientist, and you do not have to do it in garbage. You don't have to do it in junk removal, dumpster rentals. You can do it in any service-based industry. Don't have to be super tech savvy either. I mean, there are a lot of free tips out there between YouTube, Google, and everything. That's how I learned, guys. And I hope this helps you all a lot. I wish I had this when I, started my business. I'd probably be a lot further ahead now. But the biggest thing I can say is just patience, patience, patience. Be aggressive, be obsessed with your growth and your customer service, but be patient. Some days the phone doesn't ring, sometimes it rings 50 times. You just really need to be real with yourself, know what you want, and all those good things are going to come down the road. So hope you guys enjoyed this one. As always, thank you so much for watching. If you like the channel, like and subscribe to these videos. We want to get them shared out there to the public in the world, and we'll keep coming back at you guys. Thanks, and have a good one.